Hello, we are going to make a watertight connection on a sailboat here for an instrument that's being installed outside the sailboat. It's covered, but it's still exposed to the elements essentially year-round, so we want to make it as watertight as possible. I've got some heat shrink here. It's always handy. Make sure you slide that on your wire before you do anything else, because once the connection is made, you cannot add it down the road. You got to do it first. So the heat shrink is going to shrink once we apply some heat to it. But before we apply heat to the heat shrink, I'm going to add these butt connectors. We're going to crimp these down. These particular connectors are 14 to 16 gauge. That is in line with the wire size that I'm using. Make sure you check your wire sizes to use the right size connectors. There are crimp tools for this. There are also vice grips for people who don't have crimp tools. There's always ways to do it. Don't grip it too much. These can shatter, they can explode. Start by making it snug. Once it is snug, go back and finish it off. Once it's snug, you don't have to worry about the wires moving around so much. Now I'm just going to tighten it once more. And that should be, let's just clamp it down. Okay, that shouldn't go anywhere. Give it a slight tug, not too strong. I'll do a bit more on the sides. Like I said, this is going to be a fairly permanent connection, so we want to make sure we do it well. We do not want to start this over. There's plenty of other problems to solve. When you solve one, make sure you don't have to get back to it. So that's crimped nicely. It's going to hold. That's just a sheath that's moving because the metal is smaller than it now. So the next step to this watertight connection, which works really well, is using electrical tape. I'm going to use this liquid tape. It dries into an electrical tape. I'm going to apply it on both sides here. And then once I apply the heat shrink, it's going to push that electrical tape into the connection. You don't need a lot of this. It's just really to keep the humidity out and the corrosion. Just a little bit there. And a little bit here. Not a lot. Just on the side of the connector like that. Stuff is messy. Do not get it on you. Now, it doesn't dry too fast, so you don't have to freak out here and move quickly. I'm going to slide over my heat shrink over the connection like so to right about there. And then now you're supposed to use a heat gun, but again, barbecue lighter. This is going to shrink. You want to apply heat evenly, top and bottom. This particular model squeezes out a little bit of juice to make a better connection. The electrical tape is not necessary with this, but I still like using it, especially with a wire that I am not going to touch again. That way, if I have troubles with my instruments, I know down the road it is not trouble with this wire. There we go, she's shrinking down. That's the electrical tape. Forgot to mention it burns, so if you apply the liquid tape and you apply some fire or flame to it, it might spark up a little bit. Just blow it out. Be careful on boats with flames. Goes without saying. Here we go. So now what I did was, again, we applied both our wires, 14 gauge, to our butt connector. I crimped that down. Then I added the liquid electrical tape onto either side, and then we slid over the shrink wrap that we added to our wire before we started. in order to shrink it down. Once this shrinks, it pushes the electrical tape just a little bit here down both ends to prevent any condensation that can get in there. The shrink wrap is pretty good for that, but with a little bit of electrical tape, it essentially eliminates anything that could get in there. A waterproof, semi-permanent electrical connection. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.